Welcome back to another edition of This Month at the TNM. Well, we've come to the end of another year, and what a year it was. Today we're going to look back at 2022. It was an eventful year for the world at large, and especially for the TNM. Your organization, meaning you all, were busy, and we have a lot to show for your efforts. Let's start with the obvious. It was a midterm election year. There were 4 main candidates for governor in the Republican primary. The incumbent governor, Greg Abbott, Chad Prather, a conservative online comedian and commentator who decided to run for governor because, in his words, enough is enough. Don Huffines was a state senator from 2015 to 2019 and feels those in political office in D.C. in Austin have failed Texans repeatedly, and that Texans deserve leaders who will deliver results instead of excuses and lies. Allen West has served in elected office in Florida and Texas, is a conservative who is formerly the state GOP chairman. One of these candidates was not like the other 3. All these candidates, except Greg Abbott, came out in support of your right to vote on whether Texas should, as Sam Houston said, once again raise its head and stand among the nations.
This is a yes or no question, so quickly we'll just go through each one of you. We'll start with you, Mr. Huffines. Yes or no, do you support a referendum on the ballot that says, quote, the state of Texas shall reassert its status as an independent nation?
Yes.
Mr. Harrison.
Yeah, I like that.
Mr. Prather.
Yes.
Mr. West.
Yes.
Unfortunately, once the primary election results were in, Greg Abbott continued the tradition that's been true since 1978, where the incumbent is reelected in the primary. There was another office that was of particular interest to TNM members. Our own Daniel Miller was on the slate of candidates for lieutenant governor. While Daniel was able to fight the good fight, and the exposure he got for being a candidate for what some say is the most powerful office in the state got our message out to many, he wasn't able to topple the machine that is the Dan Patrick campaign. He did come in second, but wasn't able to drag the incumbent under the 50% required to force the race into a runoff. What I would have given to see Daniel and Dan Patrick on a debate stage together. Another thing 3 of the 4 governor candidates had in common is that they signed on to the Texas First Pledge that was created by your organization. As of today, there are more than 110 candidates and elected office holders that have signed the pledge. This pledge is a solemn oath to put the interest of Texas and Texans ahead of anything else, and is a fixed set of principles that guide every action that the candidate or office holders swears to uphold. This includes sections on putting Texas first, inherent and inalienable rights, Texas sovereignty and independence, cultural and economic independence, as well as improving government transparency and accountability. You can read the pledge at taketexasback.com. This year we also had a great showing at the Republican Party of Texas convention in Houston. The TNM was very involved in all aspects of the process, starting with the temporary committees, all the way through finalization of the official platform. In an unprecedented turn of events, we were able to get not 1, but 2 planks dealing with state sovereignty on the platform, one from the Constitutional Issues Committee and the other from the State Affairs Committee. This great accomplishment is due to your efforts. TNM members not only volunteered for key positions on the committees themselves, but also showed up in support of the planks, offering testimony multiple times throughout the process. Your blue shirts were also highly visible throughout the convention, and we received a lot of positive feedback, and even recruited hearts and minds to the effort.
What's it time for?
Right after the big win at the Texas GOP convention, we came home to find out that Survey USA had just released the results of a bombshell poll supporting exactly what we know to be true. We want to be the Republic of Texas again. This survey was conducted in 8 states, including Texas. Support for exiting the Union polled highest in Texas, of course. The poll showed that 69% of Texan voters want a referendum on Texas independence. Breaking it down, it shows that the support for Texas independence exceeds the halfway mark in every political party, with Texas Democrats at 52%, Texas Independents at 53%, and Texas Republicans coming in at a whopping 74%. Daniel has always maintained that he knows when Texas independence is on the ballot, it passes not by a little, but by a lot. You don't have to be psychic to see that Texans are ready to reclaim their status as an independent nation again. 2022 also saw a big fundraising event called the Catalyst Campaign. Our work for Texas independence is very much a people-powered effort, and this campaign, the largest in our organization's history, was a big help on moving us closer to our goals. We'll have more information on the results of this remarkable campaign in upcoming programs. We're seeing an interesting trend happening around the state these days. In October, Edwards County called on the state legislature to put a secession question on the 2023 general election ballot. They passed this resolution highlighting the abundance of grievances, ones we're very familiar with, against the federal government, including the national debt, usurpation of states' rights, restrictions on private industry, curbs on the Second Amendment, and failures to enforce immigration laws, among others. The resolution was signed by several county commissioners as well as the Edwards County judge. It's great to see more and more entities coming around and putting pressure on elected officials to do the right thing and let the people have a vote on this critical issue. It's nothing new to hear that social media sites are censoring people who have viewpoints they don't agree with. Just about all the major players in this industry are famous for completely tossing the idea of free speech enshrined in the U.S. Constitution. It's gotten so bad that the TNM has just filed a class action lawsuit against Facebook for declaring our organization to be dangerous or harmful. We've had it with that kind of abuse from big tech. This year, we developed our own social media application called TNM Social. This is the result of many long hours of work and testing by some pretty talented people. The app's available both on the TNM website as well as through a mobile app for both Android and iPhone users. It's a great way to both connect with other members as well as to keep up on current events in the TEXIT movement. Well, that's a look at where we've been this past year. Next year is already shaping up to be our most remarkable one yet. In the coming months, we'll take a look at the upcoming session of the Texas Legislature, as well as some pretty exciting projects and events that are in the works. We'll see you next month in 2023.